Hello and welcome to this short video on getting started with Ovid Medline at Newcastle University. I'm Amy, one of the medical liaison librarians at the Walton Library, and Medline, if you're not yet familiar with it, is one of the key databases for the Faculty of Medical Sciences. It allows you to access articles from academic journals on biomedical sciences and life science topics, and it goes back as far as 1946 with new articles being added to it all the time. It has over 25 million journal articles indexed on the database. The database itself is published by the National Library of Medicine in the United States, and it's actually freely accessible for anyone to search on the internet, but here at Newcastle we subscribe to the Ovid platform version of Medline because it has some really useful searching techniques that I'll introduce you to in just a second. The quickest way to access Medline at Newcastle is to go straight to the library search record, or you could follow the links from our medical subject guides page, where you'll also find lots of other recommendations and tips. Whether you're on or off campus, you'll need to sign in to access Ovid. And once you've done that, you'll be given a range of different options to choose from, including some other databases and various different date ranges. And once we're in the database, we can start searching for information. But the first thing you might notice is that compared to other keyword style databases such as Scopus or OpenScience, Ovid Medline has quite a different looking search interface. So how do we start to navigate this? Well, let's imagine that the research question we're interested in is the epidemiology of cerebral palsy in low birth weight infants. We're going to start by breaking down that question into its different parts, and we're going to begin by searching for the condition itself. Compared to other keyword databases, Medline uses something called the MESH tree, or medical subject headings, with defined entries for different types of diagnoses and conditions. And you can see that the cerebral palsy, the condition that we're interested in, does indeed have an entry on the tree. So let's go ahead and investigate that a bit further. If we scroll down the page a bit further, we'll see the entry for the term we're interested in, and you'll notice that different terms start to move across the page from left to right. So this tells us that cerebral palsy is a subtopic of chronic brain damage, which in itself is a subterm or sub-reference of brain diseases. We can also see already that there are nearly 13,000 papers referenced against this term, and we can also have a look at the scope note associated with the term. This is really useful because it tells us a bit of background information on how the term is used and what its official definition is, which of course can vary across different geographies. It also gives us an idea of other terms that we might want to look up as well in the MESH tree, and it also tells us which older or perhaps somewhat out of date terms or adjacent terms may also be included when we add this reference, this particular entry, into our search. We also have the option to explode or focus our search on this particular term. Now, if we choose to focus our search, this will look for major mentions in the article that use that particular phrase or term. If we choose to explode the term, then that will also include any narrower entries that are included in that particular entry. So, for example, if we chose to explode brain diseases, we would automatically include all of these narrower terms in our search. But for now, we want to focus on cerebral palsy, so we'll leave this as it is and continue. On the next page, you can see that there's a range of subject headings that you can add into your search, and we know from the phrasing of our research question that we're interested in epidemiology, so we're going to select that as a subheading for the search. So we can see from the first line of our search history that we have searched for cerebral palsy as a term in the MESH tree, and we've also chosen to use the subheading epidemiology, and that has returned us 1,369 papers. However, we're not done yet because the second part of our question referenced low birth weight in infants, so we're going to add that as a term. And again, we can see that there is a matching entry here, so we're going to select that and take another look. And again here we can see that there are some other terms adjacent to the particular phrase that we've searched. So as well as low birth weight in infants, we can also see very low birth weight as an entry and small for gestational age. Now this time round we are in fact interested in those other narrower terms, so this time we are going to choose to explode that term and include both small for gestational age, very low birth weight, and indeed another heading that has been included under this one as well, so extremely low birth weight. And so this time, under line 2, you can see that we have exploded infant low birth weight, so that's included those other topics as well, and that has returned us 23,623 papers. We're not done yet though, because of course we need to combine these two concepts because we're interested in their relationship or their correlation. So we're going to connect both of those lines with an AND, because all of those concepts must be present in the papers that we want to see. And our final number is 189 papers. However, we also want to add some limits into our search. So we're going to select English language and we're going to choose publication year from 2010 to this current year, 2020, and run that search again. And with those additional limits, we can now see that our results are down to 73 papers. And to start browsing those, start looking at the abstracts, the titles, we can scroll down the page and check out what we've found. If we want to see whether we have any holdings for those here at Newcastle University Library, then you can follow the link, Find at Newcastle University, and we'll see what access we have to those papers. So I hope you found that useful as a quick start guide to using Ovid Medline here at Newcastle. You can also see our PDF workbooks for more detailed instruction and practice on how to use some of the advanced features, and of course you can contact us through Library Help if you have any specific questions. Thanks for watching.